Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ashok Kumar from Government Women Engineering College, Ajmer. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about antenna arrays in which especially an element linear array with uniform amplitude and spacing is going to discussed in this lecture, and this is the second lecture of series antenna arrays. The following contents will be addressed during this lecture 2, in which we are going to discuss about analysis of n element linear array having uniform amplitude and spacing. Then further, by using the analysis of n element linear array, we are going to calculate the nulls of the array, maxima of the array, then half power points of the array, minor lobe maxima, and first minor lobe maxima of the array. The following books is considered for this lecture, and these books are very famous books through which I have designed the content of this lecture. For the analysis of n element linear array, we are going to take the geometry of this n element linear array, and here you can see we are taking 1 2 3 4 and n number of elements, and these elements are spaced with the distance d, and as I mean between 1 and 2 the distance is d, 2 and 3 the distance is d. So we can say each element having the distance d between the elements, and this is the observation point in a space where we have to calculate the electric field as well as axial ratio factor for the n number of elements, in which for element 1 the distance is r1, for element 2 distance is r2, for element 3 distance is r3, and so on, and for n element the distance is rn, and this geometry is located in the yz plane, and we have considered n number of elements as a point sources, and these elements are located along the z direction. The angle from the z direction to the observation point according to distance we have to say it is theta, and we are also analyze that the theta for all n number of elements is equal. As we have discussed, this is a uniform amplitude and equal spacing antenna elements, and then after we have draw the phasor diagram of n element array of isotropic sources position along the z axis, and here you can see this is the phasor diagram. As we can say, for antenna element 1 the amplitude is 1 and angle 0 degree. For antenna element 2 amplitude is 1 but phase is psi. This is the progressive phase between element 2 and previous one element 1. So we can say it's a phi. Then this is 2 psi with respect to element 1, and between 2 and 3 it is psi. So we have to calculate for the n number of element the amplitude in all element we are taking is 1, and the phase is n minus 1 into psi 4. Then after we have to calculate the array factor of n number of elements, and this is the basic principle that can be used to calculate the array factor of n number of elements. As we have discussed that, as we have assumed that all elements have identical amplitude, as we can say it's 1, and each succeeding element has a beta progressive phase lead current excitation related to the preceding one, as we can say antenna element 2 to antenna element 1, where beta represents the phase by which current of each element leads the current of preceding element. So the array of identical elements with identical magnitude and each with a progressive phase is referred to the uniform array. So we can call, why we are saying the uniform array, so we can say the antenna elements and these antenna elements are identical, having equal magnitude, or we can say identical magnitude, and each having a progressive phase. Then this type of antenna is called as a uniform array. The another category is a non-uniform array, in which the magnitude may be the same but progressive phase shift may be different between antenna elements. This type of antenna we are saying is a non-uniform array. So the array factor of the n element linear array can be calculated by considering the element as a point sources, as we have discussed. If the actual antenna element is not isotropic, then the total field can be found by multiplying the array factor of the isotropic sources by the field of single element. And this can be achieved by using pattern multiplication rule. And this rule we have discussed in lecture 1 of antenna array series, and we have given the theorem in equation 5, and we have to calculate uh, the total field radiated by the non-isotropic sources, and we will further discuss in the case of non-isotropic sources. So we can calculate the array factor, and this array factor can be written by using this expression, which is 1 plus j e की power plus j kd cos theta plus beta plus e plus j2 kd cos theta plus beta, and so on. For the n number of elements, we can calculate the array factor by using this expression, and then after we can summarize the expression in the summation form, and we can say a array factor a of f equal to n is equal to 1 to capital of n minus e की power j n minus 1 kd cos theta plus beta. So we can return array factor is the summation of n number of elements, and the array factor is dependent on the d is the distance between the elements, and beta is the phase. So this equation can again we can return in this form, and here you can see array factor is jn minus 1 into psi. So we have replaced kd cos theta plus beta with a coefficient, and that coefficient is psi, and this psi is the progressive phase shift between the elements. Here we can represent. So the amplitude and phase can be controlled in uniform array by properly selecting the relative phase psi between the elements. So this is the important. And again we can say that in a non-uniform array, the amplitude as well as the phase can be used to control the formation and distribution of the total array factor. So we can say we can categorize in uniform and non-uniform array, and here we are going to discuss about the uniform array only. After getting this equation, we have to multiply array factor by ej psi. ej psi, then it can be rewritten as ej psi plus ej to 2 psi plus ej3 psi, and so on, and for the n number of elements. Then after we are subtracting the equation 7 from equation 8, this is the equation 7 and this is equation 8. Then after we can calculate array factor ej psi minus 1 equal to minus 1 plus ej n psi, and this equation we can rewritten and in this form, where axial AF is equal to EJN psi minus 1 upon EJ psi minus 1. So we can say we can divide this multiplication factor to this term or this expression. So we will get, then we are taking e की power j n psi from the numerator and e की power j psi from the denominator, then we will get e की power j n minus 1 by 2 into psi. This is the factor, and when we are taking common e की power j n psi by 2 from e की power j n psi by 2 from this expression, then we will get this expression, and finally we are getting the array factor e की power j n minus 1 by 2 psi sin n psi by 2 upon sin psi by 2. So this is the important expression that we are calculated for the n element linear array. If the reference point is the physical center of the array, if we have to consider the reference point at the physical center of the array, then array factor magnitude, this is the array factor magnitude a of f का magnitude equal to magnitude of sin n psi by 2 upon sin psi by 2. So this is the important expression, and this expression is needed for the calculation of different types of parameter which are relevant to the n element linear array. For the small values of psi, this equation can be rewritten, or this equation can be approximated by using this expression a of f is approximated sin n by 2 psi upon psi by 2. So we can say sin psi by 2 nearly approximated equal to psi by 2. So we can return this equation, and these two equations are very important for the calculation of all relevant parameters. The maximum value of equation tan A or tan B, I mean this equation and this equation, is equal to n for psi is equal to 0, and this can be calculated by putting the value of psi in this these two equations. Then you will get the form of sin 0 upon 0. Then we are using the L'Hospital rule. Then after we will get the maximum value of array factor is equal to n. To normalize the array factor so that the maximum value of each equal to the unity, then equation tan A and tan B can also be written in normalized form. Array factor of n equal to 1 by n sin n psi by 2 upon sin psi by 2, and array factor normalized, we can again rewritten array factor approximated sin n psi by 2 upon n psi by 2. So we can say finally these two expression of array factor, normalized form of array factor, is important to calculate the respective parameter for the n element array, in which we are going to calculate the 5 parameter from these two equations, uh, and in which the first parameter is the null of the array, and then second is the maxima of the array, then half power points, then minor lobe maxima, and first lobe value or maxima. These 5 parameters we have calculated by using equation tan A, B, C and D using different type of approximations. First we need to calculate the null of the array, then equation tan C and tan D is set equal to the 0, as we have discussed in lecture 1 of antenna series, where we are saying that when we are calculating the null, then the array factor is set to equal to the 0. So we are equal this equation to the 0. So n psi by 2 theta is equal to n represent here is the null, so plus minus n pi, and tends to theta of n is equal to cos inverse this expression. So this expression is important for calculating the nulls of the array, where n is equal to 1 2 3, but n is not equal to n twice of n and thrice of n, because as we have calculated the maximum value of array factor is n for psi is equal to 0, and we are getting here the sin 0 upon 0 form, and then we are going to solve by using L'Hospital rule. So we are saying n equal to n twice of n and comma thrice of n, this is not equal to n. If n is equal to n twice of n size of n and so on, then attain its maximum value because it reduces to the sign 0 upon 0 form. So the small n determine the order of the nulls, first order and second order, and this is important when we are calculating the nulls of the first, second and third order and for the nth element order. Therefore the number of nulls that can exist will be the function of the separation distance d and the phase excitation difference beta, as we have discussed in the equation of psi. Here you can see kd cos theta plus beta. So d and beta is a dependent parameter, so we can calculate the number of nulls exist in a given array. The second important parameter is maxima values, and this maxima values can be calculated again by using this expression tan c, and where we are putting psi by 2 equal to 1 by 2 and psi b kd cos theta plus beta, and which is equal to m of pi, where m is represent to here is the maxima, and we are taking the value of m equal to 0 1 2, and by putting the different values of m in this expression theta of m, then after we will get the maximum value of maxima of the array. The array factor of equation tan d has only one maxima and occurs when m is equal to 0. So by putting the m is equal to 0 in this expression, I mean equation 12, then after we will get the maxima for the array factor equal to cos inverse lambda beta upon 2 pi d. This is the important in the case of m is equal to 0 value, and we can say when we have to approximate this array factor, which is the observation angle, and then make psi equal to 0. So we can say uh, during the analysis of maxima and nulls in an element array that all the lobes containing principal maxima are called the grating lobes. So how we can define the grating lobes? So for one is the maxima. Here you can see the array factor of the 7 element array, and this figure has been taken from this book, and here you can see at size equal to 0 we are getting the maxima, as we have discussed. Here size equal to 0 we are getting the maxima, only one maxima, and for the variation of psi, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, minus pi, minus 2 pi and minus 3 pi, and this is the value of array factor along the y axis, then we are getting the next maxima is called as the grating lobe, as we have discussed. Here the all other lobe containing principal maxima are called the grating lobes. So these are the grating lobes. Between the two principal maxima, the array factor can have several nulls, maybe n minus 1 nulls will be exist, because one is the maxima and remaining are the nulls between the adjacent principal lobes. So we can say n minus lobes will be exist in a n number of elements. For example, between the main lobe containing occurring as size equal to 0, and the first grating lobe occurs at psi is equal to twice of pi, there are n minus 1 zeros occurring at l 2 pi by n, where l is equal to 1 to n minus 1. So we can say that the nulls will be exist between the two maxima, I mean main lobe and grating lobe. There are n minus 1 nulls will be exist between any two nulls. The array factor has a minor peak and called it is a side lobe, so we can say this is the side lobes. These are the side lobes of an array element. So here you can see some basic concept of principal lobes, grating lobes, then maxima and minima and side lobes. The third important analysis is the half power points, and the half power points is calculated at 3 dB points of the array, and by using the equation 10 we can calculate the half power points value n psi by 2 is equal to n by 2 kd cos theta plus beta, where theta is equal to theta h. H represent here is the half power points, and this is equal to plus minus 1.391, and this value you can see from the appendix first of this CA Balani's book. And then after we have calculated the half power point theta of h is equal to cos inverse by using this expression, and this equation can also be rewritten theta h is equal to pi by 2 minus sine inverse this expression. So theta h, this and this equation, both equation are same. This is the in terms of cosine and this is in terms of sine. For the large values of d, if the distance d is greater than the lambda, then equation 14a can be reduces to theta of h nearly equal to pi by 2 minus, so we can say sine inverse of theta approximated equal to the theta, so we can represent by using this expression for the large value of d. So the half power beam width can be found once the angle of the first maxima theta of m and half power points theta of h are determined. For the symmetrical pattern, we can calculate the half power beam width equal to twice of theta m minus theta h. This is the important expression where we can calculate the half power points for the n element linear array. Fourth point is the minor lobe maxima, and this is again the important analysis here. And by using equation 10d, there are secondary maxima of minor lobes which occur approximately, and using equation 10d we can get the maximum value when we are going to approximate sine n psi by 2 equal to sine by using this expression where theta is equal to theta s. Here s represent the side lobe, and then after we are putting the value is equal to plus minus 1, and then after we will get n by 2 kd cos theta plus beta, theta is equal to theta s equal approximated plus minus twice of f plus 1 into pi. So finally we can calculate theta of s by using this expression where s is equal to 1 to 3 for the first, second and third side lobes. So this equation 15 can also be rewritten in terms of sine inverse, and for the large value of d, again we have to return in this form. So we are taking assumption sine inverse of theta approximately equal to the theta for the different values of s, and the values s belongs to the 1 2 3 and so on. The fifth parameter is the first minor lobe maxima. This is the important parameter in the case of n element linear array, and the maxima of first lobe of equation 10c can be calculated by using the appendix I, and the value of n psi by 2 equal to n kd theta is equal to theta s is approximately 3 pi by 2. This value we can get from the appendix I mean first, but here you are taking plus minus 1 for the minor lobe maxima, and the first minor lobe maxima is equal to the 3 pi by 2. Then after we can calculate theta of s. The another technique to calculate the first minor lobe maxima is the two zeros 2 pi by n and 4 pi by n at psi is equal to approximately 3 pi by n. So we are putting psi value in the array factor equation. In this equation we are putting, then after you will get the value of array factor for the first minor lobe maxima, which is equal to 2 upon 3 of pi equal to 0.212, and this value you will get after you have to consider the large number of array and sine of theta approximately equal to theta, and which is equal to 3 pi upon 2 twice of n. When we are putting this value in this equation, then after you will get the value of array factor, which is equal to twice of 3 pi and equal to the 0.212. And we can calculate this array factor value in terms of dB, and the calculated value of array factor in terms of dB equal to 20 log 10 2 upon 3 pi is equal to minus 13.46 dB. So we can say for the n element linear array, the first minor law maxima equal to minus 13.46 dB. So we can conclude that the maxima of the first minor law of the array factor of equation 10D is 13.46, lower than from the maximum at the major law. I mean, minus sign is represent the value is lower, and this can be seen from this. This is the maxima, and this is the first minor law maxima, and this value you are getting minus the 13.46. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope this video, I mean lecture, is beneficial for you. In the next lecture, I mean lecture 3 of the anti-array series, we are going to discuss some special type or special kind of arrays are known as the broadside and fire arrays. So by using the analysis of n dimensional uh, linear array, we are going to calculate the maxima, nulls, half power points, and other parameter value for the broadside as well as for the end fire arrays. Thank you.